everybody. This is a little background on how Helen came to be the unique person we all know and love. It's called Ode to Helen on the occasion of her impending 30th birthday. There once was a young girl called Helen, whose story I now will be telling. With 30 just looming, we start our assuming her childlike ways she'll be quelling. But I'll take you back to the start, with her initial starring part. She was little and cute in her oversized suit, and immediately captured our hearts. She was born very early, you see. Patience was never the key. There was no longer waiting, no anticipating. Over 3 weeks early was she. As a toddler, she gave us some flack. For tantrums we never did lack. We thought she was bad when she turned really mad with her tiny, ferocious attacks. Her trips to play school were funny, for her uncle who'd start the trip sunny, until she'd stop older men in the street there and then and demand that they gave her some money. She really did have a ball when at her grandmother's house we would call. With a belt and a harness, she'd do her darndest to ride Grandma through the hall. We had to hide sweets from her eyes in a cupboard where we kept the mince pies. One day we heard jangling and found her there dangling from a handle about 6 foot high. Her birthdays had much fun in store. She expected to be taller than before. The day she was 5, down the stairs did she dive and headed straight for the vestibule door. We found her there jumping in tears. She really was totally unclear why even in her sandals she couldn't reach the handles. When you're 6, chick, we said, next year. Now Helen had a particular passion, and it wasn't for dollies or fashion. It was difficult to foil it. Yes, you guessed, it was toilets, and her visits we'd oft have to ration. 'Cause Chick was a natural kid. We had to be careful what we did. If no toilet was around, she would use any ground, any carpet, any floor, any grid. At a badminton competition at Peel, we were playing with our customary zeal, when out on a court we saw someone short, giving it her own kind of seal. She did herself excel at this sport when she graced the badminton court. There she could shine while looking fine, and to running she'd never resort. Her partner Sarah was fast. All that running left Chick quite aghast. She stayed at the net till the end of the set. What a team! They were champs, yes, at last. She liked the sports which were rough, and to be honest, she's really quite tough. Her judo was inspired, her opponent was tired, and her gladiatorial name was Fluff. She really loved visiting farms, and animals to her were a charm. We went up to see a menagerie. But imagine, to our great alarm, she rushed in her wellies to win a race to that red slimy thing. It was deep, it was wet, and to our great regret, she sank right in up to her chin. Now Helen had a friend across the road who was not always kind, and she'd goad our girl with her mocking when they'd spend the day rocking on the swings in a mock-friendly mode. Swing higher still yet, our Chick bid, and that's exactly what her friend did. Then jump now, said Chick. She hit the ground like a brick, and Chick scampered back home, and she hid. Music is so natural to Chick. It's a large part of what makes her tick. It's her ultimate goal, and it's there in her soul, but it's not always been quite so slick. When her dad first taught her to play, he felt regular practice was the way. She'd sit at the keys with sobs, tears and pleas, and this would happen each day. Now for a while she's been driving, and on this she seems to be thriving. Not so true of her dad, who remembers the lad who had to save his own life by diving. He was waiting at the bus stop, you see, believing himself safe to be. But when Chick left the road, the grass verge she mowed, His life flashed past instantly. Her car is something to view. It's scratched and it's so battered too. Touch-up paint was my go-to, but that was a miscue. I just painted the entire car in blue. To make matters worse than they were, she breezed in one day to refer to the bump she just had. "Oh, don't feel so bad," I consoled with motherly care. "I'm glad you feel that," she said. I was filled with a deep-seated dread. "I think you're a star, but it was actually your car that I hit," and she quickly retreated and fled. She's a person with talent and flair, and a tendency her soul to bear. Her stories are bold, and when they've been told, she's inclined to overshare. Her bedroom would embarrass a teen, and it often needs a good clean. It infuriated her dad, and he got really mad. It still looks like a whirlwind has been. And now she's 30 at last. It's hard to believe that time's past. My precious daughter, my bridge under the water, it's all happened really too fast. So on this momentous night, when 30 is finally in sight, you're great and we love you. We think the world of you. Happy birthday, and party all night if you think you can manage it now you're 30. Happy birthday!